and welcome to another evening of frank conversation here on Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. I'm Maokpe Ogun Yusuf. On Hard Copy tonight, I speak with a gentleman who's been around the political scene for quite a while. He oftentimes comes across as a neutral, maintaining that Nigeria and good governance is his agenda. But in recent times, he's taken to more partisan politics. His latest foray into the murky waters now shows him flying the flag of the African Democratic Congress as its governorship candidate for the 2023 polls in Akwa Ibom State, South Nigeria. Ezekiel Nya-Etok is a Nigerian architect of repute who's now dived headlong into the politics of his home state. What does he hope to do differently for a state whose politics has been dominated by the People's Democratic Party, which has produced every governor since 1999? What chance does he really have? Can he and his party, the ADC, convince the people of Akwa Ibom State to pitch their tent with them? Ezekiel Nya-Etok, welcome to Hard Copy.
Thanks, it's a privilege to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, we've spoken over the years. I've interviewed you over the years on a sister program, Sunrise Daily, and it would seem to me that there's been a metamorphosis of some sort from you being the convener of Nigeria First? And then you were the chairman of the Young Democratic Party.
That's right.
And then later on, you threw your hat into the ring, I think, in 2019 for Akwa Ibom. I would have thought you'd have had enough by now, but it doesn't appear that way.
No, not at all. There are different types of Nigerians. Mm-hmm. I'm one Nigerian that owes Nigeria. It will be very unfortunate if I did not follow every possible chances that I have to change Nigeria in my lifetime, because I am a direct beneficiary of the goodness of Nigeria. I came from the village boy, where I'd never known anything anywhere. And right from that village, so to speak, the biggest city I'd ever been to was Ikorekpene. And at that place, I gained admission into Federal Government College, Warri. It was then the best in West Africa and the 9th best in the Commonwealth. That school changed my life forever. That was a Nigerian that did not know if my parents were primary school teachers or my mother used to sew in the village market. That is the Nigeria that believed in quality of education. That is the Nigeria that did not discriminate, but believed in meritocracy, excellence. That is the Nigeria I met. And that's the Nigeria that gave me education that transformed this village boy into one that, with all humility, has gained not just national but international recognition. If Nigeria gave me that, and I'm at this twilight of my days on earth, I think that I owe Nigeria and the young Nigerians to see whatever I can do to bring back the Nigeria that I met.
So, interestingly, what you've been trying to do is pay back the debt which you think you owe Nigeria.
Exactly.
And it would seem that on many occasions, the manner in which you've chosen to pay this debt has been refuted or has been, I don't know, I'm looking for the right word to use now, but resisted, more or less.
Yes.
So I would have thought that you'd have found other ways.
Yes.
For instance, when you decided to convene Nigeria First.
Yes.
What happened to that?
It's there. In fact, it's probably the biggest think tank in Nigeria today. You are part of it.
I haven't heard about Nigeria First. I mean, I've heard about it, but I've not seen anything that it has done in recent times, apart from you being the convener.
Yes. What is done, we have two sets of activities. One is, having town hall meetings and all sorts of things. We're not heavy on that. But we are, like I said, a national think tank. In that group are virtually all the A-rated producers in Nigeria. In that group are captains of industries, we have ministers, we have governors, we have all sorts of people. In that group, all we do is bring out the highest level of intellectual discourse.
So what's wrong with that?
Helps.
Why are you not going through that way?
Because, you see, there are two things. There's policy. We've become very good with policies. And there's implementation of the policies. I've been at the personal level you know, reaching out, particularly to the young people. That's why they call me the National Youth Headmaster, okay? And you see, as an individual, that's how far you can go. I've also helped to shape a lot of policies, networking with the National Assembly and all sorts. But there's the last part, which is implementation. And I have 3 levels that I would like to be involved in. The first is the presidential. I think that it's a little above my level. Then there is the governorship.
Why do you think it's above your level?
Yeah, because I'm a realist. For where we are today, I don't think that I have the capacity to run a presidential election, okay? Then there's the governorship, which is very much within my hold, which is what I'm doing now. And there's a local government, which is not too much below me, but it's non-functional as of today. A local government chairman, that should be the most important, really in principles does not exist. So I want to see if I can animate what Nigerians have, what I have believed, which is running a state in a way that people will say, that's what government should be all about. You know, if you look at the Constitution, Chapter 2, Section 14, subsection 2B, it states without any ambiguity that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. But if you look at governance at all levels, it's not about the people. It's not about their security. It's not about welfare. Politics has become so commercialized, has become such an enterprise. That's why people will bring out 100 million to buy the form. When they buy the form with 100 million, they go to pay the delegates as much as $20,000, not even naira. And then we complain about the dollars. And when they start to run their campaigns, it runs in billions that are just mind-boggling at the end of the day. To serve? No. So I hope that in this conversation, we'll be able to see who the problems are.
Well, you have also been a part of, you know, that sort of politics. I mean, your home state,
Yes.
Akwa Ibom, has been governed by the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, and you were once a member of the People's Democratic Party. I think you threw your hat in the ring. It was in 2011.
2007.
Okay, and somehow you didn't emerge as a candidate, but that's just what we've inherited as, and we've seen happening in the Fourth Republic. But let's take a look at your party now. This is where you currently are at, the ADC, a relatively new party. And I've taken the liberty to go through its mission statement. It says it wants to re-engineer a political party system that is free from domination by wheeler-dealer political elites, money bags and godfathers through transparency and accountability, as well as propagate inclusion and diversity of values for women, youth, diaspora network, and persons with disabilities. Some people will say...
I'll tell you, I'm a little... what's the word? Almost embarrassed, because
Why?
ADC is about one of the oldest parties, over 19 years. Number 2, ADC came 3rd in the last elections. The first was APC, President Buhari. The second was PDP. The third was ADC.
Okay.
So everything that is written there has been what ADC has stood for, and it still stands for. That's why people like Professor Moralu came in, and Moye and Dumekachiko. In fact, or as a matter of fact, in this current dispensation, ADC had the highest number of people that vied for the presidency. They had 12. And ADC did something that is unprecedented.
You say it had the largest number of people
12.
who vied for the presidency?
Yes.
Okay, within its party?
Within its party,
okay.
Yes. 12. And what it did, which is unprecedented, was to hold a national discourse and run it live. And Channels was one of the, and they gave every single candidate the opportunity to speak to Nigerians. And it was something novel. And I think Nigerians were really impressed at the quality of what came out.
Indeed. I had to read that mission statement out, talking about wheeler-dealer, political elite, money bags, godfathers, etc.
Yes.
Because shortly after the presidential primaries, you saw what happened. Professor Kingsley Moghalu resigned his membership of the party.
Yes.
And he had pretty strong words talking about how he cannot, subscribe to a party that supported such obscene corruption, so to speak.
I think that with all due, Professor Mohalo, I brought him to ADC to start with, and we've been friends for over 30 years. With all due respect to him, and I have such high level of respect to, for him, I think he will be looking back and saying, I honestly should never have said that. I say this on my integrity.
Why should he, shouldn't he have said that? Because he wrote it down.
Yes, except he's referring to something else. That primaries of ADC was the most transparent. And I could show you a text that will embarrass you. One of my supporters, I'll show you after this, she said that she had to keep the convention to pay the children's school fees. And that coming back with 5,000 naira is the height of embarrassment to her. Nobody, I say this on my honor, and I ask channels to go around Nigeria and look for one person over 2,000 in the convention that was paid 10,000 naira.
Okay, so his own quarrel with it, I was trying to see if I could munch what he...
It could have been administrative.
Yes, it was administrative, largely administrative. I think he talked about how the party was supposed to have provided for delegates.
Yes.
The party did not do so.
That's right.
The party collected money from aspirants.
I'll tell you what it was.
With the promise that it was going to do so.
Yes.
It didn't, and according to him, it made the delegates susceptible to all manner of...
He is right.
To all manner of temptations.
He is right. I'll tell you where he is right. The party was so almost saintly in its approach, and they said, we're not going to let anybody undertake anything. We're going to bring everybody, and we had over 2,000 people. Late in the day, they realized that the sales of forms and everything could not raise the money to bring people for the convention. So the party reached out to the different aspirants and said, could you please pool funds together? And I think they volunteered about 10 million, something like that. Only about 3 of them paid, about 30 million. And the convention was going to flop. It wasn't going to hold. So they called all of them back and said, can you bring your supporters to the convention so that we can... I'm being very honest and transparent so Nigerians know what really happened. It was at that point that, he brought his supporters. He did. Okay? So he did, yes. Okay. Please quote me directly, he did. He paid hotel for them, okay? But you see, what is unfair is that people now had the capacity to bring more people than some people could. Whereas if the party had brought everybody, it could have been a level playing ground. So you can see that there was no element of corruption or any intention to do any ill, but he does have a point in that at that process, if you had more capacity, it gave you more leverage to be able to bring more of the people that should be there.
I understand your explanation, but in the light of this, wouldn't you say that your party is dewy-eyed about just what level of money is needed to be able to organize a political convention
I would
and
say
perhaps
that,
even run the polls?
I would say that the party is a victim of the system that we run today because the other parties have made it such that people don't pay dues, which are the things you use to run a party. And INEC is not insisting on certain things, which I hope they will going forward. So on account of that, people see the convention not where they should willingly go, okay? It's like campground, When you talk of Shiloh, people are saving to go for Shiloh, okay? But when it comes to party convention, which is where people should be so happy to go and meet the other members of the party, they see it as an enterprise such that they don't want to pay a dime, but they want to reap from conventions.
Even members of the ADC?
Oh, yes. We are all Nigerians. The only difference is that ADC tries very hard. The management is trying very hard to see how they can tell Nigerians to think a little differently. We all live in the same country. And I would say that to a great extent, on account of being so principled, they've remained where they are. I'm aware of offers that have been made to ADC to hijack, to buy, and the chairman says, no, I'm not going to be a part of this. I think Nigerians really ought to look deeper into what ADC has been over the years and why they've remained relatively small. You know, integrity is expensive. I can say that for a fact.
We'll take a break at this point. When we come back, we'll be asking what you really have for the people of Akwa Ibom and what you're hoping to do differently, given the challenges that even your party is already facing.
I can't wait.
Please join us again. Welcome back. You're watching Hard Copy, coming to you from our studios in Abuja. Our guest tonight is Mr. Ezekiel Nya-Etok, the governorship candidate of the African Democratic Congress in Akwa Ibom State for the 2023 elections. Well, let me take you back to a conversation we had, was it in 2021? We were talking about a letter you wrote to the INEC chairman, talking about him talking to, I think, some of his members of staff about the importance of upholding integrity, etc., etc. I do not know if you eventually got a response to your letter, did you?
Not directly. I have a very good relationship with the chairman. He sounds a lot of things off me. And
the chairman of INEC?
Yes. And he listens and takes, opinion of other people. He weighs it against his general, roadmap. And that's why we can say that INEC is improving. There's still a lot of way to go, but I can tell you for a fact that that man is committed to giving himself a name. Let me even be that...
Well, it was not the first time you were, you've had to complain about it. I think shortly after the 2019 elections as well, you also had complaints about
money vote
the
buying.
Cancer. You described it as a cancer then, and you said it was a cancer that could turn into an epidemic of vote buying and voter intimidation. And it's still the complaint in elections as recent as Osun and Ekiti. So what are you hoping will happen in 2023 to mitigate this?
One of the things that INEC has done, which is fantastic, is the introduction of the BVAS. Now, the BVAS is going to very largely or has largely reduced, the voter intimidation in the sense that all that issue of carrying ballot box and running, people have discovered that you can't run to go and do thumb printing. It doesn't work again. So that's been eliminated almost completely. But the vote buying, we are actually still going back, to the drawing board is looking at, because you see, the Electoral Act makes it mandatory that the voting process be made public. That's why it's a secret open ballot. Now, it is in the process of keeping to the spirit of the process that the ballot is out. And it was in that ballot being out that you see you have that show and buy, show and pay, But we are looking at a possibility of redesigning the process such that you have to come back and close it. And because there were so many parties before, if you close it, the ink will now turn to the other one to be voided vote. But now we're having fewer parties. So we're trying to see how it can be such that even if you bend it, it goes to your own party and not any other person. And it will be obligatory, mandatory, incumbent upon any person after voting to fold the paper and not expose it. But then INEC does not have the capacity. They can bring out the laws, the rules, and even design it that way. But to monitor, the police have to be able to say it's got to be done this way. But there's complacency because of the enterprise that Nigeria has been turned into in everything,
It's not going to change overnight.
It's not, still but we're making progress.
It's still going to be very present in the 2023
elections. It might
elections.
not exactly be from what we are looking together, because vote buying is one of the areas that INEC is really, really concerned about. And we're having all manner, like I said, Mr. Mahmoud he listens. And he's just calling for anybody that has, an ingenious thing to do. Can we have the ink that even if you fold it any other, once you put it there, it dries up immediately? He's asking for every single thing, possible. Can we do a punch? What can we do? What is it that can be done to ensure that that integrity is sacrosanct?
But I'm wondering, when you finally get to Akwa Ibom State, you know the politics of the place. You know just what our politics has been. The PDP has been a force to reckon with in Akwa Ibom State.
That's right.
What are you hoping to do differently this time?
I'll tell you. The very first thing is that time, experience, situation, circumstances have pushed people to the point where they are starting to think. Secondly, Election in Akwa Ibom has been challenged all along. This is the very first time that we're going to do proper election in Akwa Ibom State, where every vote is going to count. This is going to be first time, and there will be major surprises. Secondly, this is going to be the first time where people know that their vote will count, so they can go out and really exercise their franchise.
That means the votes have not really been counted?
No, they've never counted.
In Akwa Ibom State?
They've never counted. I can, that's why I'm trying to be very, very, this is a national platform, so let me be a little laconic.
I mean, I understand what you're trying to say. Yes.
Thirdly, this is one of the first times that they will have an option, a choice to make. Not between 6 and half a dozen, but options on the table. I've been in Akwa Ibom State. It will shock you to know that I've been there. People think I actually contest every year because every year I'm in the eye of the people in Akwa Ibom State because I just believe in giving back. But people think I'm always so, even if I don't contest because I'm there, because people don't come and be on your face except they want your vote. So they are shocked to know that of all the 6 election cycles, I've only bought the form once.
The question is what precisely is broke in Akwa Ibom that you want to fix? Because if there's any... Just a moment. Okay. Some people will argue or will say that if there's anything, Akwa Ibom seems to have been pretty lucky with the kind of leaders that it has had.
Yes.
Would you argue with that?
You see, there's something that I think it was Chief Odili that made a statement. He said, monkey sabi jump. Monkey sabi jump. No, we say 3 then near. Put 1 3 here. Put 1 3 there. Make monkey jump. Make I see. Akwa Ibom has been so blessed by God. If you look at Akwa Ibom, we're so compact as a state. Not only compact, the topography and the nature of the state is such that we only have coastlines. The longest coastline in Nigeria, all the others are interior. So you can actually get from Uyo to the furthest part of Akwa Ibom in less than 1.5 hours, or let me exaggerate, 2. That's how compact we are. We are about the 2nd or 3rd largest in terms of receiving resources. I'll tell you that over the past 15 years, our average purchase has been over 500 billion annually. When you put all these things together and discover that there are states in the Federal Republic of Nigeria that received that budget less than 200 billion, and yet they pay salaries, they do things, and we budget over 500 billion. So you can see that.
Are you saying that there's nothing to show for it?
Commensurate. You know what this lady said, Madam Okonjo-Iweala? She said, I'm speaking not just as the CME or Minister of Finance. I'm speaking as a developmental economist. She said, I have not seen 20% of the resources of Akwa Ibom on the land. Don't quote me, Google it, or rather quote me, but that's not my saying. Google it and you will see it. And she was
speaking in specific reference to Akwa Ibom.
Akwa Ibom, yes, she was talking about Akwa Ibom. She named Akwa Ibom State specifically. You see, let me tell you, if you go to Akwa Ibom State and stand at the plaza, like the city center, look at Oron Road, Ikodepene Road, Akar Road, the Wellington Bassi. If you look around the city, you cannot find 5 corporate offices. 5 ways with a budget of over 8 trillion. There's something fundamentally not okay.
What do you think is missing?
I'll tell you what's missing. Akwa Ibom has not been for Akwa Ibom. Akwa Ibom has been owned by outsiders. I want you to name Akwa Ibomites that have done projects in a 500 billion naira budget. I want you to name in each cycle 10 Akwa Ibomites that have had a project that is worth 3, 4, 5 billion. You know, the presidency has leashed on Akwa Ibom. The big people, the external forces.
What you're trying to say is that the people who get the contracts on Akwa Ibom
are not Akwa Ibomites. I say this with every sense of responsibility. And that has to change.
Is it not because of capacity? Because I also know that the previous governments also had a preference
that could be an insult. Akwa Ibom runs some of the most enlightened set of people in ICT, in construction within Nigeria and outside Nigeria. anywhere in the world you go,
yes,
if I show you the list of Akwa Ibomites,
the point I'm trying to make is it's possible that they are not in Akwa Ibom State. It is possible that
bring them
they are
from
residents
Togo.
elsewhere.
Yes, bring them from Togo.
Yes.
These other people are not residents in Akwa Ibom State, so that argument will not work. If you can bring them from Lagos, you can as well bring Akwa Ibom person from US. If you can bring them from China, you can as well bring Akwa Ibom person from Nicaragua.
What difference would that make?
Because
wouldn't
the difference
money
is
go
that
out of the state?
No. The Akwa Ibomite that comes to do it is not capital flight. He's taking to take care of his village people. He's taking it to build his own house. His investment is in the state primarily. But the others are capital flight. They leave the state. That's why you can't have a corporate office, because I'm saying things that you should be able to look at and say, I'm sending my reporter tomorrow to Akwa Ibom to come and prove me wrong. And tell me the Akwa Ibomites, their corporate offices that are here, 2, 3 stories, 5 stories.
So let me get this right. What you want to do is bring people who are from Akwa Ibom State to do the work in Akwa Ibom State?
I am saying we must have an ideology, a philosophy that is Akwa Ibom for Akwa Ibom. We must.
I wish we had more time, Architect Ezekiel Nya-Etok, but we have to thank you for coming on Hard Copy tonight.
Awesome program. I'm so privileged to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, that's the program tonight. What do you make of his campaign and his thoughts? Do let us know using the handles showing on your screen. Thank you for watching. I'm Nya-Etok. Good night.